Very happy Independence Day. And today I thought that I should be speaking from the core of my heart. Today happens to be the 77th Independence Day of India. Very religiously, I got up in the morning and 7:30 dot. I listened to the Honorable Prime Minister's speech this morning. When I was a student, my maternal grandfather had some accidental burns and he was in a neurological shock. He was in deep neurological shock and he was admitted at the LNJP hospital. I still remember the 62 war when the first war broke with China. Every time my maternal grandfather will ask me, have the Chinese been beaten by the Indian forces? How about the China? Has it been beaten by India or not? Have our troops advanced or not? And anything, everything, he will like to, even on his deathbed. He was so patriotic to the core that he asked me every moment that I should update him about the war theater of war. After 62 war with China, we had a very, very glorious victory. It's called the Battle of Nathula. How many of you have heard of it? Battle of Nathula. It was in 1967, Lieutenant General Sagat Singh. How many of you know Lieutenant General Sagat Singh? Lieutenant General Sagat Singh. How many of you have heard of him today? You have heard of General Sagat Singh? What is so special about him?
So he led the skirmish with leading BSF troops that involved the defeat of Chinese soldiers using anti-air cannons.
So 1967, we have beaten China. 62 war we lost. We lost all of the Indian territory to China. But 67 Nathula battle, not only India won, but 400 Chinese troops were killed. General Sagat Singh has also led the freedom movement of Goa. And at that time, General Kendit was the chief of the army staff. Then came the 71 war, which is known as the Vijay Divas. And today we are reminded of a battle which was almost being fought on three fronts. We had not touched our troops deployed on the eastern border, which was called the NIFA at the time, northeastern frontiers. And our battle was mainly on the western side, on the eastern side of Pakistan. One Pakistan was carved out into two countries. One was Pakistan and one was Bangladesh. It was a very historic battle, and I must salute the spirit of those martyrs who laid down their life in 1971 war, 67 Battle of Nathula, 62 War of China, and then came 1999, which is called Vijay Divas. It's called Prakram Divas also. The Battle of Kargil. It was a diplomatic failure. And I must confess that when 1965 war was fought, Lieutenant General Harnoot Singh, how many are aware of the Battle of 1965 when Lal Bahadur Shastri gave the clarion call of Jai Jawan, Jai Kisan? There was 65 war. And when we turned it to the graveyard of Patton tanks, that was in Longowal. Lieutenant General Harnoot Singh was the man who was leading the command. And simply his exemplary bravery and his leadership not only led to the burial of entire Patton tanks. I mean, about 60 of those Patton tanks were advancing towards Longowal, and they wanted to capture the coast of Longowal. And that was the time when a leader like Harnot Singh, Lieutenant General Harnot Singh, who belonged to the same area of Longobod, in order to save his motherland, our martyrs laid down their lives. So on this Independence Day, 77th Independence Day of India, let's remember the martyrs who laid down their life in 1962 Indo-China War, 67 Nathula Battle of Nathula, 71 when we fought with Pakistan and parted out into two countries. One is known as Pakistan, one is known as Bangladesh, and 99,000 troops they surrendered. They came on their knees before the Indian armed forces. And the general at that time, who became the field marshal then, was Manekshaw, Sam Manekshaw. And the word Sam came because he was assigned the Gorkha Rifles Regiment. When he went to the Gorkha Rifle Regiment, when the commander, introduces himself, who are you? So he was confronted with Gorkha, Major General, and he asked him, who are you and what's your introduction? He said, I am Sam Manekshaw. So he used the word Sam to identify himself with the Gorkha Rifles which he was leading at the time. So General Manekshaw became Field Marshal, and we have two such instances where the general became the Field Marshal. One was General Karyappa also, he became Field Marshal, and then General Manekshaw. So today is a historical day when we need to remember the sacrifices of our brave soldiers who, while defending the frontiers of this country, laid down their lives and they made the supreme sacrifice. Another War of Independence, which was prior to the country becoming free in 1947. Prior to that, Shahid Bhagat Singh, Sukhdev, Rajguru, and many such martyrs, not one. But if you have ever been to the Andaman Nicobars and seen the Salura jail, what a torture was inflicted on those who are freedom fighters and to whom we owe this country's independence. Today it's a day I think millions of those people, their names are not remembered by this nation. Even Jallianwala Bagh, when it took place. We have paid a very heavy price for this independence, India's independence. Each of the citizens of India must owe their gratitude to the freedom fighters who made tremendous sacrifices, leaving apart their comfort at home, leaving apart their families, sacrificing everything that they had at their command at the time. And we owe this day to them, those martyrs and the freedom fighters whose name remain immortalized in history. Hundreds and millions of those. Some of those are unsung heroes whom we don't remember. 1950, my Prime Minister he was born in 1950. Prior to that, the freedom struggle which led to India's freedom, independence from the clutches of British. It was a long drawn battle in 1920s, 30s, 40s, and then the Quit India movement and so many movements came place, Dani March to anything. That history is also very, very exciting and something to be reminded about. That they never cared, they never believed that this country would one day become an independent country. And finally, in 1947, we gained independence. India became a republic in 1950, when the Constitution of India was dedicated to the citizens of this country. So on this auspicious day, a day that reminds me of many sacrifices, millions of sacrifices, many unsung heroes, I dedicate this day to all those martyrs and to all those freedom fighters who gave us this day, the 77th Independence Day. We owe it to them. And let's all salute them and the spirit of sacrifice. And let's imbibe the spirit of sacrifice. Let's sacrifice everything for the sovereignty and integrity of this country. Let's today pledge that each one of us devotedly remain loyal to the country. And country comes first and then anything else. All our studies, all our education, all our knowledge, all our wisdom, set apart that. If you have sense of sacrifice and pledge not to make compromises in life, India shall triumph. As the Prime Minister spoke this morning, India is now in the Amrit Kaal. And when it celebrates its 100 years of independence, it will be one of the leading superpowers of the world. We hope that dream comes true, and if all of us remain true to ourselves and true to the spirit of sacrifice which they made, let's all remember one thing: country of motherland comes first, and then anything else comes to you. So today, on this day, let's all pledge, notwithstanding the trials and tribulations, the problems that we face in our day-to-day life, let's remain dedicated and devoted to our motherland and to the nation that we belong to, which has bestowed upon us the right of a citizen of India. We today owe a lot to our forefathers, generations of whom made sacrifice. Today we are breathing the freshest freedom, air of freedom. So VIPS has all through been inspired by Swami Vivekananda's vision, and today it is reinforced by the sacrifices made by those martyrs. I, on behalf of you all, salute all those martyrs and the freedom fighters to whom we owe this Independence Day. Thank you very much. Jai Hind. Jai Bharat.